What's up, YouTube? This is That PlayStation Gamer. Today we're going to be reacting to a video of 343 Destroyed Halo. So, I'm pretty regular with this guy. Like, I actually think he makes some pretty damn good content, and I do think he, is starting to shine some light on Microsoft and like how they've just been a absolute disaster, not just for themselves, but for just everything they touch. It seems like everything they touch is lately. It's just like it's either going badly or it's not going as good as it should. Obviously, I'm skipping a little bit through his ad here that he has sponsorship. So yeah, go check out his sponsors. Ersk, I don't know what I think it's a wallet, and check out that stuff and use code HUSK.
You can use my code HUSK in the link in the description to get further savings. Remember
Exactly.
Halo?
Yeah. So yeah, just go use this code. I guess I'm kind of shilling for him too. So yeah.
It used to be a big deal. During the 2000s, it felt like Halo was as culturally significant as, I don't know, Star Wars. It was one of the most popular entertainment franchises out there. Even if you didn't play the games, you knew the name. You knew this guy, Mr. Halo.
I actually have that.
But 2 decades on, this property seems to have lost its touch. And now, it's probably only as culturally significant as, I don't know, I guess Star Wars still works? Man, if you haven't been following...
Man, you talk about depressing. Halo and Star Wars are probably on the same wavelength. Like, they used to be, like, these pinnacle of, science fiction and, their genres, and now they're just like, bleh. They're there. Yeah, that's the best thing about them. They're there.
What's been going on in the world of Halo for the past decade or so, I don't blame you. Things are not going well. Mass layoffs at 343 Industries, the developers of the game. Upper management and staff have been let go, and the most recent entry in the series, Halo Infinite, just kind of failed to resonate with pretty much anybody. The game's development was a disaster, with a lot of work being outsourced to contractors.
The first few months it was out, it actually did surprisingly well. But yeah, after like the first few months, I was like, okay, now the game just dropped off. And it dropped off hard. Like, I think I've heard somewhere like the player base is below 10,000. Like, that's really fucking bad for, a free game of all things too. Like, you have to remember Halo Infinite's multiplayer is free. You don't have to pay for the multiplayer. And Halo has always been a franchise that was proud of its multiplayer. And now it's just like, it's not even like in the top 5 most played Xbox games, which is crazy to think. A Halo game is not in the top 5 most played Xbox games. Like, there was a point where the two were, you could not separate the two. People, when they thought Xbox, they thought Halo. Now when they think Xbox, they think Fortnite and Call of Duty. Which, funny enough, Microsoft now owns. So technically that would be a W for them.
Contractors outside the core team. And while after 3 years or so, the game started getting the kind of consistent updates that fans had wanted from the beginning, it was too little too late, and the seasonal update structure was dropped entirely. Look, while Steam numbers aren't the most conclusive evidence for a game's decline, I do think that it is clear that interest in this free-to-play live service has taken a nosedive over the past few years. And today, I kind of just want
to say that, like, I think the free-to-play and, just let's be honest here, I think people are just checked out when it comes to free-to-play games, as games as service games. I think right now what we're seeing as a huge problem in the market is that there's just too many online games that are trying, they're trying to have infinite content. People are, they're in the ecosystem they're in. People who play Fortnite are going to play Fortnite. People are going to play Overwatch are going to play Overwatch. They might occasionally leave that ecosystem for a bit, but they're never going to leave forever. They're always going to come back to Fortnite. They're always going to come back to Overwatch, to Call of Duty. Even freaking Helldivers 2 is kind of in there. Like, I don't think Helldivers 2, for the record, is doing like super bad, but it's like, I could also see a lot of the player base just not interested anymore. So yeah. By the way, that's my more modern take after playing more of the Helldivers 2 after that recent update. It's actually pretty damn good. Like, damn, they actually did add a lot of fun extra stuff to it. It's like, damn, this actually feels like a kind of better, and that's good. But it's like, it's also a little late, but it's not as late as these Halo Infinite. Remember, Halo Infinite originally was supposed to be a fucking launch title with the Series console, to the point that Master Chief from like some of the, I guess, like promotional art was in on the back of the box. And then when they delayed the game, they're like, oh shit, we lost a big game we would market. And that's sad when you think about it. Like, if that delay didn't happen though, the game wouldn't have been as polished. And if that game would have been as polished, it would probably got more shit for it. And it probably would have died quicker.
I'm gonna talk about where they might go next. Where does Halo go from here? 343 has been the target of a lot of criticism from Halo fans for their
Rightfully
attempts
so.
to expand the intellectual property, bring in new people, usually at the expense of longtime fans. So much effort and time was wasted planning for this Halo TV show. Like, this thing was announced in 2013. When the show finally released, it deviated from the source material so drastically, and just after 2 seasons, it was dropped by Paramount Plus. That is exceptional.
That's really bad. We realize Paramount Plus also, like, Paramount Plus in general is just going away the dodo. But like, as he's going to point out here, because I can tell where he's going, at a time where like video game adaptations have been like the best they have been, with the Fallout TV show, The Last of Us, Cyberpunk, Edge Runners, goddamn, what was that? It wasn't Apex. It was goddamn, it's stuck. It's tip of my tongue. It's that League of Legends tie-in one. Goddamn, it's escaped me. But it's like with those and like the Super Mario movie, like you would think this would be like the best time for a Halo adaptation. No, it's the worst. Like, because Halo's just, the Halo TV show was so bad. I watched a bit of the first season and the second season without, like, watching the whole thing. I gotta be real, man. Like, that show was so bad. It made me so appreciative of the Gran Turismo movie. Like, in hindsight, I was like, man, the Gran Turismo movie wasn't anything amazing, but it wasn't the Halo TV show. So, hey, looking at the bright side. And, hey, maybe Twisted Metal was a little bit better than I thought it was compared to what it could have been. It could have been the Halo TV show. Or it could have been the Borderlands movie, which I've heard so many bad things about.
Embarrassing in a time when so many video game TV shows are all the rage. Recently, there's this unfounded rumor spreading on the internet that said that 343 Industries was just going to stop making Halo games and give the property to other developers, let other people.
Basically, the idea would be that they would license out the Halo IP to anyone that would come to them. Like, for example, just top of my head, id. If id came to them, hey, we want to do a Halo spin-off game, they'd be like, oh yeah, sure, go ahead. You're already within the ecosystem because you're Xbox. But like, I think that would have been better than 343 just, sticking to their guns. Because like 343 is not very good at what they do. They're pretty bad at it, actually.
Make the games. This was not true. 343 is still making Halo, but people were really excited for a few hours there. For something that has been the golden goose of the Xbox brand, it's a shame to see this franchise fall apart so hard, so fast. But here's the thing, it really wasn't that fast. I mean, it's been a long time since people unanimously agreed that Halo was good, like a long time. And now, after the failure of yet another Halo entry and the TV show, and Microsoft's priorities shifting to other franchises like Call of Duty, some are gonna wonder, what do they do now? Where do you go from here? Okay, brief history lesson. Halo was originally developed and created by Bungie. Bungie made Halo 1, Halo 2,
which is so funny because Bungie has been going through mass layoffs too, and they're under the ownership of Sony. So it's like everyone that's been attached to the Halo license in some capacity has been cursed. I'm almost tempted to call it the Halo curse. You touch Halo, man, things go bad for you after a while. You might do good, but after a while, you start going bad. You start breaking bad. Okay, cringe ass joke aside.
Halo 3, Halo 3 ODST, and Halo Reach. Then the developers left Microsoft and never touched Halo again. But Halo is pretty important to Microsoft and to Xbox, and they didn't want to just let this thing die. Microsoft still retained the rights to the Halo franchise. Now, the smartest move at this point would have been for Microsoft to scout out for talented studios, find developers who were well established at making compelling FPS games, and maybe let some of them try their hands at a Halo spinoff. You know, keep the franchise alive, but tell a new story. Respect the legacy of Halo. And keep that goodwill retained that had been gained after all those Bungie Halo entries. But yeah, Microsoft didn't do that. Yeah, no, they got greedy. Rather than find a veteran development team, they figured they needed to make their own. 343 Industries was created by Microsoft solely for the purpose of pumping out Halo stuff. A studio created by nothingness, formed inorganically. This was a mistake. So usually the best video game studios form when just a few people work together on some small projects. If those projects are good, they might hire more staff, gain leadership skills, learn how to work together, and they become world-renowned teams. This is the right way to do things. Microsoft decided this would take too much time, so they just made the most corporate, inorganic studio possible. They took a bunch of game developers.
They literally hired game developers that actively didn't like Halo in charge of Halo for Halo 4. And how'd that go?
Just shoved them in a room and expected a good game to get made. But it doesn't work that way. If this wasn't bad enough, the team was not tasked with making a spin-off in the Halo universe. They would be directly continuing the story of Halo 3. And it happens to be a continuation of one of the most beloved game trilogies of all time. The response was mixed. And while initially Microsoft paraded around this game as a hyper successful title with a super successful launch, in hindsight, it probably didn't live up to internal expectations. I mean, this released on the Xbox 360 5 years after Halo 3 released on the Xbox 360, and as far as we can tell, it somehow didn't come close to matching the sales of its predecessor. That is not good. That is not a good thing for a franchise. More people had owned Xbox 360s by this point, so you would expect the number to go up, but it went down. That's bad. Then you have the follow-up, Halo 5. And Halo 5 was...
Fuck Halo 5. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I heard Halo 5, and my immediate impulse, almost as a fucking acid reflex, is to say, fuck Halo 5. Who the fuck's mentioning Halo 5? Fuck you. How dare you remind me that thing exists? I fucking hate you. I want... You better say you hate Halo 5, too. You better say you hate Halo 5. If you like Halo 5, you don't get to call yourself a Halo fan.
Kind of a soft reboot. See, a soft reboot is when a studio wants to get new fans on board without completely disregarding their old fans. They want to tell a new story, but they don't want to lose the old story. They want a new jumping off point for a new generation, but they also want to bank off of nostalgia. Yeah, this is quite literally wanting to have your cake and eating it too. Some people might like Halo 5's multiplayer, that's fine, but yeah, this was a disaster. Sales continued to drop. Halo was losing more and more relevance. Of course, 343 seemed far more interested in trying to get this Halo TV show off the ground, which, again, wouldn't end that well. 343 was just...
It's so funny because, like, that TV show actually, from what I understood, was passed around a couple of times. Like, originally, Spielberg Productions was going to have something involved in it. Then, I guess he exited from that, whole thing. And then it got passed to Paramount. And, dude, the Paramount show is literally Halo in name only. And, like, a few recognizable figures. Like, literally, that's it. Because, like, it could have been called anything else. It would have been fine, I guess. But it's like, it had the Halo name. And it just felt like a bastardization of the franchise. Like, my God, this is what 343 signed off on. Master Cheeks. Master Cheeks and Cortana taking control of Master Chief. Just, fuck you. Oh, yeah, and the Flood are like zombies now. That's not even close to what they were like. But hey, who the fuck cares about being anything like the source material? Oh no, we want to do our own original thing, man. We want to do our own thing. Yeah, but you know what? You can do your own fucking thing and not have the Halo name attached to it. See, there's your problem. You want the Halo name, but you don't want to respect the source material. How about fuck you? Sorry, the Halo TV show and Halo 5 immediately triggered me because I hate those fucking things so fucking much.
So mismanaged, so incompetent. There was no real leadership or defining direction for where this series should go next. So they decided to try another soft reboot. A lot of people have talked about why Halo Infinite failed. I don't want to go too much into that, but in short, the game engine was just a mess. It took too long to try to fix that engine, so they didn't get a lot of new updates and content for Halo Infinite. And this game that Microsoft seemed to plan on lasting for 10 years only really went on for like 3 or so before they said, we're gonna start slowing things down. Look, this game has definitely lost money. It has been a disaster for the studio. It has done so much damage for the Halo brand, whether you like it or not. This whole series isn't that relevant anymore. And a lot of that is because, well, it's been a long time since Halo was good. Those classic Halo days, that was a long time ago. The first game released 23 years ago, and 23 years before that was 1978. And you gotta think, how many people in 2001 were really into Space Invaders? If you take the entirety of Halo's existence, most of the time it was actually under the control of 343. A kid who was 6 years old when Halo 4 released could be old enough to join the military now. An entire generation.
See what you're doing there. You're making a nod to that big conspiracy theory about Bobby and Bill. But yeah, like, dude, it's kind of crazy to think about. Like, technically, Halo spent more time under 343's umbrella than Bungie. And who the fuck is going to sit there and say 343 Halo is better than Bungie Halo? I'll tell you who's dumb enough to say that, to the person who's about to get fucking slapped in the face by their mother. I will call their mother up and be like, your child said 343 Bungie, 343 Halo is better than Bungie Halo. What? Jeffrey, get the fuck over here. Mom, I was just trolling. I don't care if you're trolling. You don't fucking say shit like that. Okay, I'll make a cringe ass jokes. I must be bored. I have watched this video a couple times, to be fair. So I kind of know all the points he goes over. And yeah, like everyone's been saying the same point too. Like Halo's just, it's not relevant anymore. I don't think it'll ever be relevant again. If I'm being 100% honest here, Halo is never going to be relevant again. And it's just because it's either too caught in the past trying to capture the old audience, or it's trying to disregard the old audience. It's literally between a rock and a rock. You know, they say a rock and a hard place. Like, no, this is between two rocks. And this poor, soft franchise that's literally on the verge of collapse can't afford to hit both rocks.
And has grown up with Halo games that were, well, subpar. As time goes on, the core fan base of those Bungie games will only continue to get older, and younger gamers will just view this series as, I don't know, boomer shooters, something before their time. 343 kept trying those soft reboots because they wanted a younger audience to get on board, but it did not work. And I think they finally, hopefully, figured that out. It was reported by reliable video game man Tom Warren that Halo Combat Evolved, the original game of the series, is getting a remake. Now, with many other reputable rumors suggesting that 343 is moving away from its slip space engine and onto...
Okay, and all right, red flag, penalty on the play, coach calling timeout, Unreal Engine 5. That engine's a fucking disaster. I don't know why the fuck developers keep supporting it, but that game, that engine can't get 60 FPS locked. Like, every fucking game that comes out on that damn engine, it's always fucking below 60. It's always below 60, especially on consoles, especially on Xbox. Penalty on the play. Yo, red flag. If the Halo remaster, remake, whatever you call it, is on Unreal Engine 5, ooh, I'm scared for the future.
Unreal Engine. It's not too difficult to make the connection here that this remake would probably be remade inside Unreal Engine, which is a good thing. Slipspace didn't seem to work out that well. There's been a lot of good popular remakes inside of Unreal Engine, from Spyro to Crash to Tony Hawk to Destroy All Humans to SpongeBob. Yeah. So yeah, this could be a good idea. But this rumor also...
But did you also notice that all those were either platformers or decade-old games? That like any kind of remaster would have been a fucking improvement? Like Tony Hawk, Spyro, Crash, they desperately needed a remaster trilogy. Or just remaster in general, so it's like, yeah, duh. And those also weren't made by 343. So those were made by people who actually gave a shit about the franchise. And Destroy All Humans, well, a fun game. Like Reprobed 2 was good. It was a good game. It was a fun time. So it was the first remaster / remake. But at the same time, those are also kind of, you know, less big games. Let's be honest here. And Halo remaster, because technically it would be a remaster of a remaster, it's going to have a lot riding on it. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I trust 343. That's the problem right there. Just the core problem is no one has faith in them.
Also suggests that the Halo remake will not only be releasing on Xbox and PC, but also possibly on the PlayStation. That'd be interesting. So a Microsoft employee did claim that this claim is untrue, or at least they implied it. And normally that would be the end of the story, officially disregarded by the corporation itself. But in this case, with this particular account, I don't know. The account that seemed to deny all this seems like they just do PR work or marketing for Xbox. I just don't see them being somebody that's that high up in the corporate structure. The account doesn't seem all that professional. And while I do think it's legit, I do think they work for Microsoft, I doubt they're privy to all the information in the company.
Yeah, random person in the company isn't going to know what their plans are. You have to be pre up there, as far as I could tell, to know what their plans are. And like, oh yeah, a remaster no one's heard of officially in official capacity. Some random employee's gonna know about. Suspicious. And also that wallpaper ain't doing her any favors. I assume it's a woman, because well, you know, Halo. It's like, yeah, like man. Look at Xbox fanboys. They just do not want to share their fucking games with us PlayStation guys. Hey man, I'm all for sharing my games. Sony, put over The Last of Us. Put over God of War 2018. Put over Uncharted. Put over all that stuff on Xbox. Because you know what? It's on PC. It might as well be on Xbox at this point. There. You guys got some of our games. We got some of your games. We can all sit here, hold hands, and start singing Kumbaya while the s'mores are being made.
Like something like a Halo remake that's probably very early in development. But yeah, a remake. That's cool, maybe. We should go over what is a remake? What is the difference between a remaster and a remake? A remaster is when you just take an old game and you kind of touch it up. You have the same old code, just a better output resolution. It's a little bit crisper. Improve that frame rate.
I don't think it's going to be a remake,
textures.
though. I think it's going to be a remaster.
Think of it like taking an old game and modding it on the PC, setting it to ultra settings and re-releasing it. Usually the difference visually between the old game and the new game is it's not that much. It's just a remaster. And a remake is, of course, a remake. They're remaking it from the ground up.
By the way, I like he's using Final Fantasy VII as an example because I like that is a remake. You know, that's actually them going into the story and changing a few things, like, you know, adding, you know, new stuff to it. You know, that, and it kind of also telling its own story. Like, to me, that's a remake. If this is what's happening with the Halo, you know, I keep calling it remaster because I feel like that's what it's going to be. I feel like it's going to be a remaster of a remaster. So it's like, it's essentially going to be their Last of Us. Whereas like they've remastered this thing more times than they've made new games. Well, I don't know if 343 is that bad, but we'll see.
Some remakes will adhere strictly to the original source material. They'll try to change as little as possible while making it visually more appealing. But others might try and add new fancy features, new gameplay mechanics, change the music, change the art style. Like I said, there's been a lot of games from the mid-90s, early 2000s remade in Unreal Engine. Seems to be a good formula for success.
But that was
and
not
honestly,
Unreal
I
Engine
think
5.
this is a good idea. There's a few reasons why I think this makes sense for Microsoft for the future of Halo. For one, 343 has just lost a lot of its management, a lot of the team. It's a very different development studio than it was even a few years ago. So for a studio that is under new management, that is moving to a new engine, it makes sense that they would try to just remake an old game as opposed to making a new one, because it would be a lot easier. There's gonna be creative decisions that have to be made. And some of them are pretty easy, you know? Like, you need the original soundtrack, you need that original Halo song. That is one of the most iconic aspects of the series. Every entry seems to change the look of the Halo games. You know, the first game has these vibrant colors. Many of the levels are defined by that bright green landscape and the purple hues and the blues. It feels more fantasy than just science fiction.
And then the remaster
And this is, of
happened,
course,
and
contrasted
fuck
with
that.
the interiors that are very cold and industrial and sterile. Whether it be the structures on Halo itself or stuff like the UNSC's ships. And to me, this is one of the most unique aspects of the original Halo. Because after this point, with all the sequels, none of this really ever comes up again. Halo Infinite was supposed to be a step back into the direction of Halo 1, but to be honest, I don't know. This does not work for me. I think part of the problem is that trying to capture the look of Halo 1 with modern gaming graphics is hard. You might remember Halo Combat Evolved actually got a remaster back in 2011. It looked awful. They completely changed the art style of the game, and in my opinion, it has aged far worse than the original release. So for something like a remake, you would need an art director and team that understands what made the original game look so special, and they would need to try and replicate that with, you know, a lot more polygons. I know a lot of artists feel inclined to put their own mark on projects like these, but honestly, this is not the time for that. Nah, Halo just needs to return to form. Maybe. Halo Combat Evolved was a revolutionary game. Before that title released, many debated whether FPS games would ever be great on a game console, particularly with the controller. FPS gaming was most popular on the computer, with mouse and keyboard, or maybe trackballs if you were into that sort of thing. Game console controllers were seen, by comparison, as less precise, and far less ideal for first-person gaming. There had been many FPS games released on console before Halo, but there was no consistency to the control schemes. By today's standards, Halo 1, though, still feels pretty good, which is incredible for an FPS that's over 2 decades old. But you gotta think, this was a revolutionary game, one with a new control scheme on console, and people were just getting used to playing games like this. So it makes sense that the gameplay, by today's standards, is kind of slow. Yes,
Pretty basic,
technically
too.
I know Master Chief is running at like 40 miles an hour or something, but yeah, it feels slow. I'm not saying I want Halo to have sprints. No, I'm
That's
not
a whole
saying
different
that, but
conversation.
even by the metrics of 90s FPS games, Halo is slow. Think of Quake or Unreal or Turok. You just don't move
Hell,
that
just look-
quickly.
Just think of Doom. Like, go play Doom Eternal and then play the Halo Combat Evolved. It's a world of difference. And I think if you're going to remaster Halo again, you're going to run into that problem where it's like, oh, this feels dated. And it's like, that's going to be a turnoff for a lot of people.
In Halo, a lot of this is what makes Halo so unique. It's not really a tactical FPS that prioritizes planning and positioning. It's not a twitch-based shooter, a movement shooter. It's, again, unique. You jump slow, enemies walk slow, you have time to dodge bullets, you have your shields. You explore open maps that aren't necessarily open world. This is Halo, core Halo, and it all
Well,
gets very
original
confused
Halo.
and very muddled as the series goes on. A lot of fans don't like the aim down sights, sprint, clamber, movement options, armor abilities that would come in later sequels. I think Halo's just in an awkward...
But see, that's kind of the problem, though. Like, when you think about it, like, honestly, that's a lot of modern stuff that old Halo doesn't do. And, like, I know a lot of people will say, oh, that's for better. But I'm like, if you're trying to get new people to play it, it's like it's gonna turn them off. Like, where's the aim down sight? Where's the, sprint button? Like, they don't like. I think the problem Halo will have if they go down this remaster route is that those games are fucking old. Like, listen, man, I love Halo. I do. I'm like fucking 100% a Halo fan, especially Bungie Halo. But like, dude, we can't pretend these games have aged well. They haven't. They have not aged perfectly fine. They are not, as good as they, were back then because the standards have changed for the industry. And I think if you're doing a remaster, that's what I'm calling it. It's like you're only going to cater to the fans who already fucking bought the game like 3 other different times. With the original copy, with Master Chief Collection, with Halo Combat Evolved Anniversary, it's like, dude, and then this, how many times they're gonna sell you the same game with the same core mechanics? Like, listen, I know that's a crazy, a Last of Us fan here who always buys the remasters, freaking telling you guys this, but it's like I can tell you right now, even as a guy who plays a game, has played a game like every remastered version, it still feels like the same fucking game. Nothing changes. And a first-person shooter that doesn't have those quality of life improvements, it's going to turn a lot of the new potential audience off. And yeah, that's a problem they will have to overcome. Like they could put the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation, that'd be better. Personally, that's the route I'd go. Just put the Master Chief Collection on PlayStation, then Halo Infinite, and then be done. Just be like, okay, now we're just done with the old stuff. It's time to make the new stuff. Because, like, honestly, I think if you just keep going back to the past and digging up the past and hoping that, somehow brings you back to life, it's like, dude, you're going to the same corpse, for the hope of life. I don't know, just like, now I think about this remaster like that, it's like, dude, it's not a good idea. It's really not, because like so much has changed since that first Halo game was made, and it's like, will a new audience really take to that game like we did when we first played it? When the original players started playing Halo? I don't think so, and that is the problem Halo's gonna have, is that it's not gonna appeal to a new audience. It's going to appeal to the same audience that, at the end of the day, all they're doing is clamoring for the old stuff.
Position as a franchise. Look, if they change anything, if they speed up the game, if they introduce movement options, the core fan base will not be happy. But if they don't change anything, people will say, wow, this game hasn't really aged that well. There's no simple solution here. So maybe Microsoft should just accept the fact that Halo might not ever be that popular again. And maybe that's okay. Of course, they still want to make money. The easiest way to do that, though, is just put it on PlayStation. Some might say this is heresy. Halo deserves to only be on the Xbox. But I would say, honestly, this is the only way forward for the franchise at this point. Halo used to sell game consoles. People would buy an Xbox just to play Halo, but that is not the case anymore. I think there's a chance that Halo could see some big comeback, but time is running out. If they want to expand the audience, the secret is not to just ruin Halo. It's just, introduce it to a wider audience. Literally bring it to other platforms. I have no faith in 343.
And I agree 100% with that. Basically what I'll say is like, they need to bring it to a new audience. Microsoft, what they need to do is sit down with PlayStation and Nintendo, say, we want to bring the Master Chief Collection over to your platforms. Nintendo, when you release that brand new Nintendo Switch 2, we want to be there day one. PlayStation, we want to be there. We want the Master Chief Collection on your platform. What's it going to take? That's honestly the path forward for Halo. While still using the past, using the past Halo for a way to get in. Because that's the whole thing. You have to get in at this point. And that's what's scary. It's like Halo does not have the mass appeal it once did. I think that's what he's saying here. It's just like, it does not have the mass appeal. People who like Halo, yeah, we keep playing it. But it's like, we're only playing the old games. Because the new stuff just doesn't connect. So Yeah, I think playing on our platforms is the best way to move forward. And I, for the record, I say that with any fucking IP. I say with The Last of Us, put it on Xbox, put it on Nintendo, put it on fucking PC. Because it's not about having exclusivity anymore. It's about getting the game out there to as many people as possible and breaking that barrier where people can now start playing your games and you get a bigger audience. You know, the Last of Us TV show is a good example of how this actually benefited them in the long run. Same thing with the Fallout TV show. When those shows came out, people started buying those games because guess what? They wanted to play it more. They wanted to be like, hey, I want to try Fallout. I want to try this. I want to try that. You know, they wanted to do it. They want to play Fallout. So, yeah. And the best way to do that is not to make it like you have to buy an Xbox or have a PC. But, like, oh, you have a PlayStation? There's the Master Chief Collection right there. You have a Nintendo Switch 2? It's right there on the Nintendo Switch 2. All you have to do is just press order. Just press the purchase. Boom. There you go. Now you can play the old school Halo games, the best Halo games, and Halo 4 and Halo Reach. Oh, I do like Reach quite a bit. Like, the Reach is easily better than anything 343's put out.
To make new Halo games that will be as beloved as the original Bungie games. And the only way I see this franchise surviving is if 343 straight up remakes the original games, gives them the respect they deserve, and tries to earn some goodwill from a community that just isn't very happy with them at the moment. I know some people would prefer something new, that 343 just moves on to a new part of the Halo lore, or they continue the story told in Halo Infinite. Others might just think they should give up entirely. And that's fair, all of that's fair. But I don't think that Halo, as a property, has enough cachet to survive a new spin-off, or even Halo Infinite 2. I really think the only solution to save Halo at this point is just remake the old games, remake the stuff that worked, and try and get a new audience interested. Some people out there might be saying, why not put Master Chief Collection on PlayStation? Why go through the effort of all of this? And honestly, money. This is probably the best they can do. Just remake Halo. Or stop. You should just stop. You could do that as well. Let Master Chief go to sleep. He looks so sleepy. Huge thanks to Exter for sponsoring this video.
And yeah, I agree. The days of Prime Halo are past us, way past us. I think they were past us after Halo 4. So, yeah, the best way for that to go forward is, personally, in my take, I said before, is put the Master Chief Collection on all other platforms it's not available on already, and then put Halo Infinite there, and then kind of go from there. Because, like, really at this fucking point, Halo needs anyone playing this fucking franchise. You know, not just the core fan base that have been playing for the last 20 years. They need new blood, or at least blood that's not already been playing it. So, yeah. That's my thoughts, and let me know what you guys think of his video, what you think of what my thoughts are, and let me know in the comment section below. Until next time, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that YouTube BS. Bye.